Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Paul Felder.
Well, look at this. Look
here we are.
We are here, and we will be back every single goddamn week. It's a new era. It's a new Periera era.
Oh.
It's the Believe You Me podcast, live and direct. It's not live. It's not direct. It's coming at you via multiple networks of YouTube channels, Spotify's, or whatever the hell it is. But regardless, we're on your screens right now. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nothing on the docket travel-wise, so nothing to start the show complaining about. All good over here, just at home, enjoying the family. Finally feel like I'm adjusted to the East Coast time zone again. And just crazy fights this weekend. A lot in the world of MMA to talk about. So perfect timing for our show. I know we didn't get to really preview it leading up to it with 320 just having happened, but I think talking about what went down is going to be even more fun. And also, bare knuckle happened. Mike Perry's still crazy, still winning fights, doing that stuff. I didn't even know that was all going down. I just saw all the highlights and things like that. So yeah, a lot going on. I went and trained a little bit today. Did a little MMA grappling today. Who's this?
Whoa.
Who's this guy?
Wowie.
Who's this guy?
I went to the gym this morning. Do you know what I did?
Lifted.
I mean, I always lift, but do you know what I did?
What?
I walked in. I did 10 reps with the bar, the empty bar, the naked bar, just the bar. 10 reps to I normally do 20 reps, but I did 10 reps to warm up. Rebecca was with me, and then we walked out. That was it. I couldn't do it because, unlike you, Paul, I'm going to Brazil next week, and I was just in Vegas last week. The week before that, I was in London. So yeah, shut up. You might not have anything to complain about, but I do. But all that aside, yeah, some of those days you just don't feel it.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing a Tales from the Octagon in Abu Dhabi, so I had to do a bunch of interviews in Abu Dhabi time. So I've been up since like 6 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
And then I did a bunch of YouTube stuff and stuff like that. And it's exhausting mentally. And I apologize to anyone out there breaking the back and digging holes and down a coal mine. I get it. But still, by then I was tired, and we walked in the gym. And it was a kind of cold, miserable morning in California, by California standards. And we walked in. And the gym that I go to, there's a lot of old people. And I used to hate that. I think I'm going to a different gym because it's the one right by my house. But then just recently that kind of shifted to where those old people actually give me inspiration. And I think fair play. I hope I'm like that when I'm in my 60s. Well, not today. Today I walked in. It was drab. It was dreary. It was cold. It was a little miserable.
Bunch of old people.
Wrinkled up to the max and I was like, I am so out of here. I'm like, come on, babe. We went around the corner. There's a new egg restaurant opened. Went around there, got a short rib omelet, and then came back here. And here we are.
Yeah. I just did something similar the other day. Ashling was in school. Ruby didn't have pre-K. She only goes 3 times a week, and we had the baby. And I didn't feel like doing anything either. Just not that far removed from being in Australia. And I was just like, you want to go get breakfast? Like, I don't feel like doing anything else today. We got breakfast. Ruby got some French toast. I got this like breakfast sandwich that this place makes, and it's just freaking delicious. So it was, sometimes you got to shut it down and relax and enjoy instead of lifting around the old farts,
Yeah, I've got to find the new gym because when I was in Vegas last week, we were staying at what's it called, Fountain Blue. That's where they do the power slap, and they got a really nice gym in there. And I went in there, and I was pushing the prowler and the sleds and all that type of stuff because the gym I go to doesn't have that stuff. And I thought, oh shit, this is nice, and it felt good to be doing that kind of work instead of just standing there like a meathead and doing this stuff. And I thought, that's it. When I get back, I'm finding a new gym. I am done. Listen, the old people, God bless you. Fair play. And maybe I'm one of those old people now because I'm 46. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what gym you're in. But I'm not ready yet to join that club full time. I dipped my toe in. I've paid my membership fees. I've had the conversations. I've bitched about the younger generation. I've done all that shit, but now that I'm going back. Midlife crisis, Mikey B, in full effect. I'm joining.
Oh,
yeah. Come on, we're going. We're going back.
What car are we getting? What car are we getting?
Ooh.
Get a convertible, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a convertible.
Oh dear. But it was just miserable, man. It was miserable. So I'm like, no, I'm sorry. And I do respect all the people that work out. God bless you. But I'm like, God, not today.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a good idea that we weren't on the show last week because be honest.
Okay.
Who were you going to pick in the main event on Saturday night?
I was going to pick Ankalaev. I did
pick Ankalaev.
Funny story. So my older brother, Tommy, right? We're tight. We're boys. And he always hits me up. Who you got this weekend? I pick wrong a lot, right? As we all do in MMA. And I told him the truth. I was like, all right, I think Ankalaev. I don't even know what to tell you for Jirir and Rountree. I said, it's going to be chaos. I don't know who's going to win. You never know what you're going to get with Jiri. He could be a phenom out there, or he can be getting kind of like knocked all over the place, looking a little crazy. And I picked Merab. So, I mean, I thought I was being pretty accurate. And he goes, really? And I go, I just gave you 3 picks. Which one do you mean really to? And he's like, the Ankalaev fight. He's like, you don't think Periera's going to win? I was like, no, I mean, I think it's going to be similar to the last time. And I was 100% wrong. And I'll eat that all day. And I said to him, listen, I want Periera to win. I kind of hope as a fan that Periera wins. I really like him, but I was like, I don't know if he's going to win. So it was easy for me, right? I pick Ankalaev, but I kind of want Periera to win. So it was win-win for me.
Well, I will say this. It's a win-win for the sport because it is better to have Periera as the champion. It just is. He's more exciting. He's incredible. You know, I mean, what he's done now is a 3-time UFC champion in record time's unreal. But I do, before we get into the X's and O's and the analytical breakdown and all the rest of it, I do want to talk about this and why I picked Magomed Ankalaev. I'm not trying to make excuses, and you did as well. Because I must admit, Periera was going on that he was only at 40%, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you'll agree with this, Paul. I find it almost impossible not to scoff at that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're never at 100%. Do you know what I'm saying? The amount of times I've gone in there injured, same for you, same for the majority of the roster, because preparing for an MMA fight is so damn hard. We're never at 100%. Right? And now it comes out, Magomed Ankalaev is making a statement, well, Ali Abdelaziz is on his behalf, saying that Magomed wasn't 100%. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like that kind of, it didn't sway my judgment. I was just like, I don't read too much into you being a little off your game. Because we all go in there injured.
Yeah, and that's the same reason that I didn't put too much stock in that, like you're talking about, for Periera, because he was saying that for the first matchup, that he was sick, that he was injured, all these things. But I'm like, just like you're saying, you can't overthink that too much, because there's always going to be something that you can say after the fact. I agree that he looked completely different, and he did all the things that everyone, when we were analyzing it, even when we were in Perth, we were talking a lot about this fight since Alberg had fought, and we were really discussing the X's and O's. What does he need to do differently? Well, guess what? Everything we talked about was going forward, getting in his face. Your takedown defense in the first fight held up, but you were gun shy. Well, he threw that shit right out there and just went right across that octagon and punched him square in the face. And it's like, holy shit. That's how you get right back in it. You talk shit. He did, right? He was just always talking shit, and he went right out there and he delivered it. And I think it threw Ankalaev off. I mean, he went right over there and was like, okay, here I am. Yeah. What are you going to do? Then what? Maybe 30 seconds later, he's on the ground and he's finishing him. Love those elbows that he was landing too, man. It looked like he wasn't really finding the mark. And Ankalaev was covering up, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to 12-6 elbow your hand and hit you through that into your head and force a stoppage. I mean, that was, he was back. He's back, baby.
Well, he's back in a big way, and he's got a ton of options. We're going to get into all of that later. But he goes forward, as you said, the 1-2. I don't think it really connected, but then Magomed's like, oh, whoa. Yeah. Imagine that. Because as we know, the scariest part of the fight is right before you start, you know, and then when the ref says fight, This maniac, one of the best strikers we've ever seen, is sprints at you and he's like, I'm coming to kill you. And you're like, whoa, shit. Talk about your adrenaline's already high. Then it's going through the roof. And then he cracks you with an overhand right. Almost drops him. That forces him to go for the takedown, which of course gets stuffed because he's bloody, he's disorientated as it is. And as you say, when he was covering up like that, yeah, okay, you could say that Magomed was defending himself. He was defending, but he wasn't doing anything else. He wasn't making an attempt to grab a leg, to get his guard, to tie him up, to do anything. He was literally curling up in a ball because he was still very much feeling the effect of that overhand right and was kind of not out of it, but definitely dazed and confused. And the referee made the absolute right call. I mean, that was a phenomenal performance. That's how you remind the world. After people jump off the bandwagon, maybe some people start talking shit and all the rest of it. That's how you say, whoa, hold on. I ain't going anywhere, buddy. I ain't going anywhere. Check this out, mate. Look at what I'm about to do. Holy shit.
Just the way he handled himself afterwards, too. I mean, he's got the crowd chanting Shama. He's like, Shama. I think he went up to Ankalaev, said something, and then said Shama to him too. And just after doing that again, there's a photo where Ankalaev is trying to get back up as he's still doing the whole hand thing. It's an amazing, amazing photo.
What about the cornerman? Because they definitely had a conversation about this backstage. Because Periera's there giving it the death stare. And Glover and the other two people in the corner, they were all doing the same thing. They all had the shaved heads. They all had the mustaches. They all had the hands on top of the octagon. They were all four of them doing that. Whereas when you went to the flip side, Magomed Ankalaev, the rest of them, just like normal, they're all talking or whatever and giving it one of these. On that side, they're all just doing that.
Mental warfare.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, listen, unreal. Unbelievable. He's right in what he said. There ain't going to be a rubber match. No way. There's no way you can campaign for a rubber match if you do that. If you get smoked in 1 minute, 20 seconds, gone in 80 seconds, not 60 seconds, gone in 80 seconds, it's over. It's done. It's on. Yeah. He's moving on to new challenges. So, wow.
And again, that's where there's a lot to talk about too, because now he already had call outs ready to go and, didn't do it. Was respectful about it. Obviously, he's interested in a John Jones fight, but with everything that's going on with the Jones family, he had a moment of silence, was very respectful of that whole situation. But hey, he's done it all. I don't mind. I don't care who it is. If it's Jones or somebody like that, then amazing. But if he wants to move up to heavyweight, shit. I'm all for it, because really, who is there? I mean, obviously there's Carlos Ulberg out there. There's Jiri, who's already lost to him though. So that's not as interesting, but the Carlos fight's interesting, but I'm still more interested in a move to heavyweight than I am even in a Carlos Ulberg fight, but maybe let him do both. He's done it for the company before.
I said this on a YouTube video yesterday. Let him do both. Because look at Anderson Silva back in the day. He went up to light heavyweight, fought Forrest Griffin, and there was one other. I forget who the other one was. What was his name?
Irvin? Was it James
Irvin? Yeah. He went up, smoked James Irvin, caught the leg, I think, and then boom, right hand. Yeah. And then obviously put on an embarrassing masterclass against Forrest Griffin. So, and he was still the light heavyweight champion, However, 38 years old at his weight. It's not old, really. Heavyweights go to him much older. He does have the potential to become a 3-weight division champion. And if he was to do that, right, it's over. There's no more discussion. The greatest, most successful fighter in UFC history, because no one else has done it. You can talk about technical abilities. You can talk about, he's had easy matchups. You can talk about anything you want. He hasn't fought too many wrestlers. It doesn't fucking matter. Who has won belt in 3 different weight classes? Not a single human being. Not a single human being. He does have a potential to do that. Granted, he might get smoked off Tom Aspinall. He might get knocked out of Cyril Gane. He might get his neck pulled off by John Jones. But it's still a possibility.
Yeah, and he deserves the right to do it. I mean, this guy has delivered for the company time and time again. And I think the biggest knock was that, right? Oh, he's had favorable matchups. He hasn't fought that many great, well-rounded guys. Okay, well, Ankalaev beat him, and he went to decision, and he stuffed all the takedowns. So he showed that his wrestling game, as far as defenses, are high level. Then he goes out there in the rematch and does what he did there. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the greatest to ever do it in the UFC, especially like you're talking about just pure credentials and strength of schedule, meaning how often he's willing to fight and in big moments. Like he's not just busy, like Jim Miller's busy, fighting like crazy and nothing but amazing props and respect to that. But they ain't 5-round main events. They ain't pay-per-view headliners. That's what this guy is doing. And he's a stone cold bastard out there.
He's a stone cold bastard for sure.
Leaning into it. They're leaning into it like you were talking about, where you're getting Glover and the boys behind him just stoic as shit. It's Shama.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I'll be honest. I'm over the charmer. You know what I'm saying? All right. It's like, all right, let it go. Let it go. We know it's a little catchphrase. We get it. But to be fair, having the whole crowd chanting it, that was a cool moment. I mean, it's wild what he's done in such a short space amount of time. We don't need to go through it all because everyone knows it. It's well documented. It's well spoken about. A 3-time UFC champion. Magomed, back to the drawing board for him. I don't know if he's going to get another title shot while Periera's around. This episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. Now, Sheath makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight, that are squeezing the meat too much, Sheath is for you. Sheath Underwear is the best. You got to get a pair. Get one pair, and it's going to change your life. The most comfortable boxer briefs you're ever going to put on your body. The stretchy fabric is made of moisture-wicking technology. They're super soft to keep everything cool and comfortable in the right place. Sheath is particularly useful for staying cool while working out. The most unique thing about Sheath Underwear is that they have these dual pouches that keep your man parts separated, your bloody balls separated from your penis, which prevents things from sticking together, keeps them right where they need to be. I was a little skeptical about the dual pouches, but let me tell you, they're a game changer. And by the way, if you're not into that idea, you don't have to use them. You just wear them like a normal pair of undies. They're the most comfortable pair of boxer briefs you've ever worn in your life. Plus, they've got brand new materials like bamboo and mesh for even more cooling comfort. Right now, go to sheathunderwear.com. Get the best underpants you're ever going to wear. If you use promo code BELIEVE20, you'll also get 20% off your order. That is sheathunderwear.com. The promo code is BELIEVE20 for 20% off the most comfortable underwear that you will ever wear in your entire life. We were talking about this yesterday. Somebody asked me, where was I? They said, what goes through the mind of a fighter when you get beaten like that? Because fortunately for Magomed Ankalaev, he is the type of guy, he's not a social media darling. He's not doing interviews galore. He's not jumping up on podcasts left, right, and center. So he'll just go back to Dagestan with his fat paycheck that he got and disappear for a while into obscurity. And to be honest, that's what fighters need after that, because that hurts. You almost think of like, well, I might as well have not even bothered training, because look at what happened. You do all that hard work, all that sacrifice, all that, he's not the type of guy hanging out with buddies. I don't know. I don't think so. But, you don't go to these family events. You don't go to parties. You don't go to functions. You don't have the diet. You don't eat the foods that you want. You're not having late nights. You're like, no, I'm not having that Dagestani beer, even though the Dagestani beers are premium. He's like, no, I'm good. I've got a big fight coming up. Do you know what I mean? And you get smoked in 80 seconds. It's like, I might as well have just got shit-faced every night, done nothing, not showed up, because the outcome could not have been any worse.
The John Jones method.
Yeah.
And then he goes in there and pulls off fucking incredible performances time and time again. Yeah, it's tough to get over something like that. And and that's the one thing that I can say. I know what it's like to lose. I really do. And I've done it quite a few times in my career. But I've never been like knocked out in 60 to 80 seconds, something crazy like that. At that level, that's got to be really a lot to take in for a guy like that, especially a stoic, humble guy like that, where he really, it's all he's got, right? You're a guy that's not out there, like you talk about, being in the spotlight, doing anything else other than wanting to win mixed martial arts fights and be a champion. And then, you get out there and you don't get any offense going whatsoever. You back up, you get hit with a big right, you try to get the fight to the ground, and the next thing you know, the ref is pulling him off of you.
It'd be hard to deal with, man. And again, I'm not ripping on Magomed Ankalaev. I think he's a great human being and obviously a tremendously talented fighter. But this is the reality of the situation, what we just saw. I've never had that. You've never had that. It's got to be hard to come back from that. It's like, I didn't land anything. I didn't do anything good. This guy just came out, walked all over me and dropped me and embarrassed me, mocked me, did this multiple times, had the crowd chanting Chama, talked shit all the way leading up to the fight. It's like, it's pretty hard to show your face again after that. You know, which, by the way, he will. I'm not saying he's going to walk away, but like, you know, it's Jesus Christ. It's hard as a fighter, as an alpha male, you know, as a real man. That's hard.
Beat up like that. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta eat that humble pie.
Go back to those mountains, recover, drink some Coca-Cola and some desserts. That's like I think that's how they celebrate. They don't really drink alcohol.
What I saw? This is like just, you know, I apologize for going off the topic. You said drink some Coca-Cola. Yeah. I saw yesterday a video, but a new law is passed in the UK where you're only allowed in, you know, restaurants, you go up and you fill your own soft drink, certain restaurants. You know, Nando's in the UK, there's a sign that says a new law has come into place. You're only allowed one real Coca-Cola. After that, by law, you're going to get a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke. You can only have one Coca-Cola. Brian just fact-checked that for me. Maybe this Instagram video was talking shit, but that's what I saw. Isn't that crazy? If Magomed Ankalaev was to go to London, stay
and
away
have as
from
many Cokes as he wants,
and have 3 Cokes with his chicken, let the man have his 3 Cokes. He's just been through a huge bloody thing. Oh, and then, by the way, there was unlimited soft serve ice cream in the restaurant as well.
That doesn't make any damn sense.
So it says here, no, there isn't a blanket UK law saying that you can only have 1 Coke, but new regulations banning free refills of sugary drinks in England, which came into effect October 1st, have caused places like Nando's to limit customers to 1 serving of full sugar Coca-Cola to combat the nation's obesity crisis.
You're also no longer allowed to offer a buy one, get one. Like, you know, they used to do back in the day, buy a Coke, get a Coke. You can't do that anymore because they just don't want more sugar out there.
I think, number one, Harrington, you're not coming through your microphone. Secondly, Brian, I think your little Freudian slip there was perfect. You went obesity problem, obedience problem. That's what the UK has. They want obedience.
Yes,
at every
sir.
step of the way.
I didn't want to be the guy to jump in and be like, it's all mind control, but it is.
Anyway, let's get back on topic. You just said Coca-Cola, and that just popped in my head for a second because that blew my mind yesterday. Let's talk about what's next for Magomed Ankalaev. What would your pick be? Obviously, we got Carlos Ulberg, we got Jiri Prochazka, there's John Jones, and then there's the winner of Cyril versus Tom.
Yeah.
What do you pick?
Let me pull up the rankings here of these guys. Here we go. I mean, I think him fighting somebody like a Rountree. Did he already beat Rountree?
He beat Rountree.
Yeah, so you don't want
beat him
that.
badly last time out or 2 times ago.
And he hasn't fought Jiri, right?
Yeah, he's fought Jiri. He's beat Jiri twice.
He beat Jiri twice?
We're talking about Periera, right?
No, I'm talking about, I thought you said Magomed. What do we do next with Magomed?
Oh, sorry. Did I say Magomed? No, I was talking, if I did, I apologize.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was like, John Jones is in the mix for this?
Oh, yeah, no. If I did, I apologize.
No, if we're talking Periera, then oh my God. I mean, I like him moving to heavyweight. I think let him do that. And if that's going to be a while, then let him fight Carlos Ulberg. I think that's the most logical. I think Carlos had that main event in Perth. He went out there. He delivered exactly how he was supposed to do it. He did it in fantastic fashion. He did it in the first round. He's new blood for Periera. He's a young, up-and-coming guy who's done nothing but win fights so far, minus that one fight however long ago. He's on like a 9-fight winning streak. His debut. So it's like this guy has earned the right to get a shot at the belt. Now, if So the White House, and he's talking about fighting a big fight like
June.
that at heavyweight. It's not, yeah. So I think he can fight again way before that. So I think defend the belt one more time, let him go up to heavyweight after that. Because I think he wins that fight. I like Carlos Ulberg, but I think he wins that fight.
Well, first of all, you were in Perth. The Carlos Ulberg knockout over, who did he fight?
Dominic Reyes, yeah.
What a knockout. Holy shit. I mean, you were on the call. What a knockout.
Incredible. And you know, it's funny, when we had him on the desk, I asked him, I was like, I got to ask you.
Oh, you got the post show there as well. You're getting the post fight shows everywhere, baby.
Pre and post show, baby.
Wow.
It was supposed to be Michael Chiesa.
Cha-ching.
But Michael Chiesa was working Fury Grappling in Philadelphia, and something happened with his passport. Somebody might have stolen some stuff out of his room. Michael's going through it right now. Very unfortunate, but they're trying to figure it out. He's actually getting like the Philadelphia police and stuff trying to get involved.
Eagles?
He's not going the Eagles had a very disappointing day yesterday, by the way. So I'm still repping. But the Phillies are in the playoffs too tonight, Michael. They also lost their first playoff game to the Dodgers. So it's been a rough couple of days in the.
Let's get back to the woes of Michael Chiesa.
But Chiesa, anyway, misplaced his passport, stolen passport. Something happens to him. I get the call last minute from Zach saying, "Hey, do you want to work the desk?" I was going to be there anyway, so it wasn't like I had to get on a last minute flight to Perth. But yeah, so that I ended up doing that. And I asked him, who would you prefer to fight when I talked to Carlos Ulberg? And I'm thinking he's going to say, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And he says, Ankaliev. I hope he wins because he thought he was the more dominant guy. Thought if I beat him, nobody's going to be able to say anything about me. But it's like, well, I mean, he just got owned by Periera. So that's who you're going to get if you're going to get somebody.
Listen, and if you have things correct, Carlos Ulberg deserves it. He's on a 9-fight winning streak. He's knocking everybody out. He beat, what's his name? Alonzo Menefield in 12 seconds. He knocked out Dominic Reyes. He's beaten some other top contenders as well, So Ulberg on a 9-fight win streak deserves it. And stylistically, I think they match up pretty good. Obviously, Pereira's got more power, but Ulberg's tall and he's a classically trained kickboxer. So I would love to see that matchup. However, look, the situation that we have, the heavyweight title goes down in 2 weeks in Abu Dhabi. Right? So it lines up perfectly. Destiny is calling. You know what I'm saying? Now, Pereira said to Dana, because Dana on the post-fight press was like, I saw Pereira at the PI on Friday. He's like, what are you doing here? And he said, oh, blah, 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 blah. They had a conversation. He said he wants to go to heavyweight. And Dana was, I had reservations because he used to fight at 185. Well, we know he cuts from 234. He was 234 the day after the weigh-ins. He could probably bulk up to 240, 245. That's a good size heavyweight, so there's no problems with that there at all. It all just lines up perfectly. And as I said, in terms of historical matchups, and you can forget about the White House, because the White House is going to be Americans versus non-Americans. That should be the theme. Is to celebrate 1776 after all. He's Brazilian. Tom Aspinall's British. Okay. That doesn't work. Okay. But he just kicked ass on Saturday. Tom Aspinall's probably going to beat Cyril Gane. Do that matchup, first quarter of 2026, kickoff Paramount in style. There you go. There's a big matchup. Can Pereira become the first ever 3-weight division champion? And guess what? If he loses, just stay at 205.
Just go back down to 205. Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't mind that either. But I don't know if the White House is going to end up being all of that. I think that's going to be difficult for them to get guys at the right moment that are big enough names to have like Americans versus like the Brits versus other. I think there'll be some of that on the card, but I think for all of it, that's going to be tough, don't you think?
Dana said it's going to be hands down the best fight card.
Right. I think he's more worried about that than just making it be like all out, hold nothing back, make it epic. And it's going to be, it's going to be outside on the lawn. What if it's pouring down rain?
They'll figure it out.
I asked some questions. I won't go into too many details about that, but I think
give us a little.
I don't think it's going to be like tickets sold, right? We all know that there's limited amounts of tickets that they're going to give. I think it's going to be a lot of active military there to fill and give them like a show, right? Because it's on the White House property. And I was talking to somebody else that I don't think they can really charge a fee for something that's happening on the government property like that. So I think it has to kind of be a special invitation type event. In which case, if that is the case and weather is an issue, I guess they could always shift things around because nobody is actually going to get a refund for any tickets or anything like that. But
so serving military, active or previous military members, dignitaries, royalty, VIPs. So you're saying we're in with a chance, Paul, of getting a ticket.
I think we're front row, no doubt about it. I mean, you know, or we just get a media pass because I mean, it is the Believe You Me podcast. So
it is the Believe You Me podcast,
and it is a British and an American doing this show. So we do fit that bill.
We do fit that bill. We should apply for a media credential, Paul. That
only though we actually should. That would be.
We should. Let's go and do the podcast up there.
But only if we dress up from like colonial wartime
Brian, just look up Bisping Fighters Only magazine dressed as a red coat. It's me and Dan Hardy, but just show one of me if you can. I'll go dressed as this when he finds it, and you'll go as a, what do you call you? A Yankee Doodle? What are you?
Yankee, yeah. Yank.
Yeah, well, you go as a Yankee. That'd be fun. I'd feel like a bit of a dickhead. A Yankee Doodle Dandy. We should ask for a credential. We should do some interviews up there at the White House.
Yeah.
100%. And we've talked about this many times on previous shows with previous hosts. But this one, I think we make happen because you never know. We might have a shot. We're not going to call it. It's going to be DC Rogan and John Anik. Of course it is. Yeah. But we might be doing that desk. You never know.
Yeah. And if we do the desk, you're damn sure I'm showing up in that same costume and not telling anybody. They're gonna give me my regular suit, my Mark Russell suit, and then I'm gonna go in the back and sorry, Mark. There you go. Yeah.
That's me at the White House. Let's go. And I don't give a shit.
Let's go. We'll both have our flags. We'll be marching around with microphones, interviewing everybody. We might have ourselves an idea here.
You guys are gonna need your crew and shit, right?
Yeah,
yes, of course. We need the producers. We need our Harrington. We need someone to get us coffee, Harrington. Speaking of which, jump on. Give us your thoughts. What do you think about Periera, and what do you think's next?
I was the lone dissenting voice, I guess, on the live stream that we did on Saturday. I said my man does not want to go back to the tire shop, and for somebody who touched the heights that he touched to actually go into like the lab again and get hungry. That's always going to be a scary thing. So I'm very excited, and I do want to see the Jones fight next. Honestly,
what is going on above your eye?
All right.
What is going on?
It's glue.
You get cut?
Yeah. It didn't happen in the ring. I headbutted a sink because I was so gassed out. I was puking that I leaned into the sink too quick and I hit the faucet.
Hold on. So this was training for your upcoming match, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, I got to say, I saw some of your Instagram content. You're doing a pretty good job of talking shit, Harrington.
That's what I'm here for.
You're hyping it up. So you pushed yourself to the limit and you were so exhausted. You were leaned over, throwing up in the sink, headbutted the sink and caused a huge cut.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, look, it was a crescent, so it just had like a flap of skin, and I was just gonna put a bandana on. My wife insisted I go to urgent care. They were like, we could put one stitch in, or we could glue it, and I was like, come on, dude, I can't get stitches for one stitch. That's such pussy
I've had
behavior.
one stitch before. I've had one stitch, and I also thought it was freaking ridiculous. When I fought in Scotland, when I fought Stevie Ray. I think we might have like clashed heads, and I just had like a tiny little cut, like a little, it was open that you could see into it. It was an actual cut, but there's no way you're going to stitch that thing up. I get to the back. They're like, yeah, we're going to stitch it. I was like, how many stitches are you going to give me? The guy's like, one stitch. I was like, you're going to make me sit back here and jam needles into my eyebrow for one stitch? And he's like, yeah. And meanwhile, I'm in there with Stevie Ray, who's getting his face all batched up, and I got to sit in there with him. Like, hey, how you doing?
I just want to say, for anyone that complains about the podcast, anyone that says, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Look at this. Our producer headbutts a sink and get stitches because he was throwing up. This is the type of, premium producing quality that we have here on this show. What do you think next for Periera, Mike?
Look, I mean, I think you guys are right. Pereira has been too active up to this point in his UFC career to take off until June or July of next year, whatever they announced the date, which is weirdly going to be a Sunday, I believe, next year for the White House card. So I just don't see the path to Pereira sitting on the shelf for that long. My big thought, as we looked at the two men, Jiri and Oldberg sitting ringside for the fight, I thought if Ankaliev gets the win coming off of that fight, Jiri Prochazka has to be next in line for the title. You can't give Jiri the title shot, against Pereira, having already lost to him twice. I thought when I saw Jiri crying after the win, I thought it was because he knew that his title aspirations had just gone out the window. I didn't process like how close they were and the sign of respect there. So I just looked at it as like, okay, my opportunity's gone. It's definitely Oldberg next. I didn't know this was up for debate.
Well, let's get into that real quick. And thank you, Mike. Seeing as he brought up Jiri Prochazka, we'll get to Merab in a minute, right? No, I didn't think that, Mike Harrington, that he's crying because his title fight had gone. Pereira is just the best, right? He's just incredible. I love everything about this man. I love the way he fights, even though it's mental. We'll get to that in a second. I love the fact that he has this beautiful knockout, runs backstage, shows up to the main event, dressed up as like a character from Street Fighter 2, and then he watches the violence and he is brought to tears. Do you know what I mean? He's just brought to tears. Like, he's got so much respect. He's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Awesome. And then in the fight, he's acting like bloody an old school version of Tekken that's kind of glitching, and he's jumping up and down. He's like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's jumping up in the air 10 feet. He's dropping down to one knee. He's thinking about throwing a shot. He's got it cocked for 3 seconds. He doesn't throw it. He gets clipped and he's going, in the middle of the ring. He's crazy.
That was my favorite part of that whole fight is when he got mad at himself when he got caught and he turned around and he's like, "Oh, got me." Yeah, he is ridiculously amazing. We don't deserve Jiri Prochazka. He is so much fun. Look at this.
I mean, what the is that,
dude?
In the post-fight press conference, he said, "I'm going to start doing this more often. I didn't know that keeping your hands up works."
That's because you train in the forest alone with trees and waterfalls. If you actually were in a gym with other MMA fighters, you didn't learn that. He's a gem. He's a gem.
He is. He's an anomaly. He's unique. He's a throwback. He is a guy that lives by the samurai code and all that shit, but he truly does. But I don't want him to change. I don't want him to change the damn thing. That third round assault, because it was an assault that he put on Khalil. That third round, because the first couple of rounds, he said it was too easy at the post-fight presser, and he clearly lost. Khalil looked good. He looked sharp. He was fast. He was technical. He landed some shots and clearly won 2 10-9 rounds. Jiri knew he was behind, and he just went, he's like, let's go full Jiri. Let's go turbo. Let's go for the kill. Let's go for this, right?
Yeah.
And just throws caution to the wind.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. He throws caution to the wind and just unloads with a crazy combination, right? The cardio that it requires to throw that many strikes whilst taking shots off Khalil. Elbows him. No, Khalil elbows him. He's like, elbows him back. 1, 2, kicks, jumps up in the air, doesn't throw a flying knee, hits him with the right, rips to the body, chin exposed, taking shots. He's like, just going forward like a maniac.
Jumps in the air, doesn't throw a knee.
It's like
you're mashing buttons, but you're doing it wrong, and your character's just jumping.
That's what he did. If you were controlling, he's just going, just button mash like crazy. And then the person on the other side, which is Khalil, is going,
doesn't know what to do.
You shouldn't be beating me. You don't know the controls. You're just button mashing, yet you're kicking my ass. Stop doing that. Try and fight me like a real person,
Oh, true.
And then 1, 2, boom.
Yeah.
And then Khalil face plant.
It's amazing that in his chaos, as crazy and as button mashing as it is, when he decides to have a moment of clarity in there and starts putting it together like he did along the fence. And Khalil was gassing, like he was fading. And Jiri, I don't think he understands what it's like to be tired or to give up in these situations. And I think that is also what makes him so insanely dangerous, is even though we love it and it's crazy and he is a crazy human, he's an athlete in there too. Even though he doesn't go about it in the traditional way, the fact that he's still fresh and sharp and aware enough, once he realized he had him hurt though, he can go in and get you out of there. And I'm telling you, I'm so mad at myself for ever doubting him over the years. I think from now on, no matter who Jiri picks or who Jiri fights, even if it's Periera, I'm picking him. I'm just going to pick him.
But listen,
you button mash hard enough, you win.
I'm in no way talking shit about Jiri. I messaged him trying to get him on the show today. He's probably going for this somewhere, right? And he's too busy to come on the show, which I don't blame him. I'm not talking shit. I'm a huge fan of the guy. Huge fan. So I've never changed. It's that chaos. It's that madness. It's that uniqueness, rawness that makes him so fun to watch. And then, of course, when he speaks and then just the way he articulates his emotions really gets me. And the fact when you see him there kind of crying, like he loves warriors. He loves to compete, and he had so much respect for Periera. And I just freaking love that about the guy. I do. He's like, we need more people like Jiri Prochazka than people that are going to go up and play it safe and then push up against the fence and fight for underhooks and try and get a single, and the referee's got to break him up. No, this sport was built on people like Jiri Prochazka, like Chuck Liddell, like all great champions back in the day. Do you know what I'm saying? We need more people like Jiri Prochazka. Sure, granted, I'm not saying go out there and have your chin up in the air and only just realize after being a champion that having your hands up is a good idea. I'm not saying that, but the balls, the courage, the grit, the determination, the fighting spirit that this man has is what this company is all about.
Yep, I love him. I love him. I love the whole thing.
Love him.
The best part of it is as crazy as it all is, it would be so easy to think if you're an outsider looking in for the first time at somebody like Jiri and being like, all right, this guy's putting on, it's not, or putting on a show, or he's just kind of being, no, that dude lives that life for real.
It's just like when I fought Dan Henderson the first time. And just like Magomed got embarrassed, I got embarrassed at UFC 100. I remember my boxing coach, the great Mark Kinney, saying, watching the tape, this guy's shite. He's shite, man. You got to box his fucking head off, lad. Right? He can't box. He can't box. You're going to smoke him. And of course, I get knocked out unconscious because doesn't mean you're not effective. Doesn't mean you don't have knockout power. You're willing to go forward and engage like Dan Henderson was. Put your head down forward, just swing with the power, just like Jiri does. You know what I mean? Takes balls to fight like that. Takes real balls.
Well, and that's why MMA is such an amazing sport, because it's not boxing. It's not kickboxing. It's not wrestling. It's not jiu-jitsu. It's MMA. And all of these things are so different in that octagon or in that arena, whatever, organization it may be. Jiu-jitsu is different because you can strike. Boxing is different because of all the other aspects that are there. And you end up landing stuff because Dan was also a great wrestler, right? So his threat of a single leg or a double leg is what made his boxing effective. Didn't have great boxing. He had power like crazy. And he could all he had to do was just dip at you. Yeah. And what did you think? You're automatically going to think, he's going to try to shoot. And then he just rips these overhands at people. And then he would shoot sometimes. And you never knew. That's why it's so great.
With all that, what we just said, all the glazing, I think that's the term the kids use these days, all the glazing we just did of Jiri Prochazka. As much as a fan, all right, put it like this. If we were to do a poll right now, and let us know in the chat, please. Carlos Ulberg, press 1 for Carlos Ulberg, press 2 for Jiri Prochazka. I would rather see Jiri Prochazka. However, I don't think the match goes down any different. I think Periera is just powerful enough. He's clean enough. And Jiri leaves too many openings to beat Alex Pereira. And I would hope that I'm wrong in the third match because I love this guy. But I would like to see him just try. The problem is I was going to say, I'd like to see him try and refine it and hone it in a little bit. But then you're getting away from what makes him so bloody great and compelling to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. You don't want him to sharpen up too much because that's also what makes him dangerous, right? If he came out and tried to box and kickbox like a more polished version of himself, he might end up getting himself in more trouble in there because he's just not used to it. That's not his natural instincts. That's not how he wants to fight. So, dude, I just think, you stay yourself, man. Do your thing. I think maybe sharpening things up to a degree and keep working on stuff, but still go out there and just jump when you shouldn't. Move left when you shouldn't. Touch the ground every now and then. Just cause. Maybe pull Tony Ferguson. Start throwing sand at dudes if you need to.
It's crazy, and I love it. This never gets mentioned. Often fighters get asked, "Who's 3 UFC fighters that you would want with you in a street fight?" I'm telling you, Jiri Prochazka is the top of that list. We had him on the show.
He would die for you in there.
Pre-Paul Felder era, we had Jiri on a few times, and he told us some crazy stories about having these mass brawls back in Czechoslovakia, mass brawls and drinking petrol out of cars and all kinds of stuff. He's a crazy guy. He would, if you were having a brawl, like skinheads versus non-skinheads in the middle of Czechoslovakia, right? You want Jiri on your team. You do not want him on the other side. Simple as that. On the streets with a bat.
No, you don't want to be fighting Jiri in a street fight. You could tell he lives for that type of situation. Oh, and then somebody pulls out a weapon and he just starts smiling like, "Oh, it's gonna be like that." You're like, "Oh shit!" He got excited when I pulled out a knife. Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, what about you call that a knife?" And he pulls out a fucking samurai sword.
That's not a knife.
Ninjas. That's not a knife.
No. He's like Bruce Willis on Pulp Fiction when he goes in that store and he's just about to get raped by bloody the gimp and whatnot.
Bing Rames, right?
No, he was getting raped. Zed.
Yeah.
Zed is dead. And he walks out and he sees the knife. Then he sees this. Then he sees the chainsaw. And then what does he end with? Oh, the samurai sword in the end. Yeah. That'd be Jiri. Oh, let's go. All right, this episode is brought to you by mybookie.com. And if you're looking to play some bets, then get ready, because some say that Thanksgiving is the best gambling weekend of the year. But October has got the NFL, the MLB playoffs, the start of the NBA, the NHL season, and UFC 321. And listen to this. MyBookie's brand new cash out system gives you options to bet and win all season long. First 2 legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and place another bet, or just let it ride for a chance at an even bigger payday. Join us at mybookie.com for an entire season filled with daily odds, boosts, same game parlays, and huge prize pool contests. Right now, MyBookie has a no strings attached cash bonus that lets you deposit and withdraw quick. Use promo code BELIEVE on your first deposit of $50 or more, and you can receive up to $200 in cash instantly credited to your MyBookie account. That is promo code BELIEVE to claim your own cash bonus right now. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Should we talk about Merab? It does it again. Before we get into breaking down the performance over what was a very, very good Cory Sandhaggen, I just want to start with this and celebrate Merab, because Merab's awesome. We know he jumps into ice lakes head first. We know he kisses Sean O'Malley. He puts on a goddamn show. And then, of course, he beats down Cory Sandhaggen. And then this is him at the nightclub after the fight on the stage. Look at him.
Taking his shirt off. There we go. The machine.
Look at him. And this is what I'm talking about. This man really is becoming a fan favorite. And this is why stuff like that combined with the performances that he continues to put on. Cory Sandhaggen showed up great in the first round. Really slick, picking his shots, defending the takedowns, doing exactly what you have to do to beat Merab Dvalishvili. But it's 1 round out of 5. And then from the second round, Merab takes over, almost finishes him at the end of the second round. Beautiful long 20 punch combination or something. He needed 3 takedowns to get to the 100 takedown mark. Well, he's now got 117 takedowns because he got 20. He's landed 10 takedowns in 5 UFC fights. He won rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. never stopped, never slowed down, put it on him. It's just unreal, man. The guy's incredible.
And he's already talking about how he wants to fight again to be the first UFC champion to defend his belt 4 times in a year. That's the kind of guy that Merab Dvalishvili is. And bro, every time I watch him fight, and Cory's dangerous. He's a dangerous, dangerous fighter. He's got flying knees. He's got submissions. He's got good boxing. Now he's working with Trevor Whitman. It's only getting better. And this only speaks to how good I think Merab is. It was clear that Cory Sandhaggen was ready for that fight. He was in phenomenal shape because guess what? When you get hurt that bad in a round, there's only one way you're able to bounce back and even continue to fight as well as you do for the rest of that fight is you've got to be in shape and dialed in and ready to go. Neither one of those guys, come the 5th round, really looked particularly worn out or tired at all. Just the pace that Merab can put on you. You can drop a round. You can win a round, against Merab, especially early on. And it doesn't deter him at all. He knows he's got 5 rounds to whip your ass, and he will use all those 25 minutes to get it done. And I really thought in that second round, it was like, holy shit, he's going to get him out here. Other refs, they're looking at that. They might have pulled him off. He might have got, I'm glad he didn't. I think it was the right move to let Cory fight in that situation. He was trying to fight back. But one more good shot from Merab, clean on the chin in the right spot, and that would have been it. And it would have been another big finish. I'm glad it didn't. It was a good fight, especially on a card where, man, what a pay-per-view. A lot of finishes. I mean, from the start of it, Joe Pyfer got things started, finishes throughout the card. Then a really fun back and forth fight. Well, sort of back and forth with Cory Sandhaggen. He had his moments, but it was pretty much Merab. And then obviously a quick finish. And I still managed to fall asleep, Michael.
Bro, I just got back. Where was I? Vegas. I just got back from Vegas. I was exhausted. So, because we did power slap, me and Dan Helly, we hit the bar afterwards. I'm not going to lie. I don't give a shit. Who cares?
If you are with Dan Helly,
he likes a drink.
He does. In a great way. He's one of the best guys you can go out and have a drink with. Dan's always in a great mood. He's always really, one of my favorite things about Dan Helly is you can bust his balls. He gives it right back to you. He smiles the whole time. Like he's a bro. Dan's one of the guys. He's a good one.
Yeah, Dan Helly doesn't get spoken enough about. He really is one of the best guys. He's awesome. He's got a great sense of humor, as you say. Like, because I tease him whenever I work with him on the contender, maybe a little bit too much, but he takes it so well and he kind of encourages it. You know what I'm saying? Because he likes the comedy, and he knows it's just jokes, He's a great sport about it all. He's great to have a beer with. As you say, never ever in a bad mood. He's never like too serious or fed up or anything like that. Always got a smile on his face, always got something to say, always respectful to everyone around him, very well spoken, fantastic at his job. Dan Helly's the man. But he's a pain in the ass because we didn't get to bed till about 1 a.m. And then my flight, I got picked up at 5:45 a.m.
Yeah, it's rough.
Do the math.
It's rough. Yeah. Not much sleep being had. But you know how it is when you're done doing those things. And for anybody watching this podcast too, anytime you get done a show, even though we didn't fight or power slap, even though you weren't competing, doing that kind of shit, you're amped up. You've just been talking about an event and celebrating or commiserating with all these athletes for the entire night. When you get done, the last thing I can do is just be like, okay,
no way,
I'm going to go to sleep. Like even Brendan doesn't really drink, but he'll still go out. He still is the same way. He feels like he's got to go and, burn off some energy.
Play the piano in a hotel.
Play the piano. There was one in Perth, Michael, and it was locked the whole time. And you should have seen the disappointment on his face that he couldn't get into that piano.
How was Perth? Because I like Perth as a city. I think it's a really cool working class town. What did you make of Perth?
It was cool, man. We got to go out and explore. We got to go out. It was the championships for the Australian Rules Football League there, which I guess really only is cared about pretty much in Australia. It's very different than rugby. I didn't even know that. I assumed they were just 2 different leagues, completely different game. So we got to go into the town. Everybody was out for that game. So it was really awesome to kind of just be in one of the pubs, get some food. And we watched it. I didn't know what was going on, but we were cheering when everybody else cheered. And it was cool. It kind of reminded me like a little bit of certain like some areas were at like a San Diego vibe, like a cool little beach town type feel to it. I had a lot of fun. Everyone was always really nice whenever we're in that area of the world. Always so respectful. I got to work with Rob Whitaker on the desk. Bro, I thought he did a really, really good job doing that stuff. So I think down that way, we'll see him more often doing that kind of stuff. I got to hang out with him a little bit. He's cool. It was cool. I'd never gotten to really hang out with Rob like that.
Yeah, no, Rob's really cool. And he's one of the boys. You know, he'll have a few drinks, he'll get down, but very professional. Great at what he does because he's a good talker. And of course, the man knows the sport. And it's interesting to see him on the desk. Not that I'm saying that Robert Whittaker's going to retire anytime soon, but it's a natural progression because I know he does the Fox Sports. It's like, you know, UFC here in America used to have UFC Tonight. Yep. They have kind of like an equivalent to that in Australia. I don't know what it's called. Maybe UFC Tonight, but they have something like that he's always on and he's doing the post-fight show. So good for him, man. Good for him. He should, because he was Australia's first ever champ. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he's paved the way for many, many others. Excuse me. Drinking the Saratoga. Sparkling water.
I do like
I love sparkling water because it feels like water's boring. It's boring. I'm sorry. But if I have a sparkling water, I feel like I'm having something a little more. I feel like I'm having a drink. I don't mean a drink as in an alcoholic drink, but it's a little more fun than just bloody water out the fridge.
Yeah. Oh, no. We always have. We have tons of different sparkling waters around the house all the time. For that reason, it's like, I know I'm thirsty. I've been drinking regular water throughout the day. I want something. I don't need a soda. I don't need a beer. I don't need anything else. But you're right. I kind of, it's just a fancy water. It's a
yeah. Well, this is fancy.
That's a fancy one.
That's a fancy dancy. Rebecca now gets them in the personalized sizes. I'm like, how much are we spending on this shit? Yeah. Every time we do
glass is nice. I do like glass.
Me too. No microplastics.
No.
You know, apparently we ingest up to a credit card. I don't know if it's per month or per year because I've heard both into our bodies.
Yeah.
From all the
I know. I shit out an American Express the other day. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, stuck in between all the carrots and the peanuts. Anytime you commentate Power Slap, I like this. I go back in the hotel room afterwards, and we've always got a gift, right? There's always a gift. There's always like a bottle of alcohol. There's always yeah, man, we get gifts.
Come on, UFC.
So this time there was a bag, and inside it there was like, I forget the name of it, but I've got no problem giving them a shout out. It was like a big charging port for like phones and this and that. There was also some cans in there, but when I woke up after 3 hours sleep or whatever it was, and I had to pack, I was like, oh shit, don't lose anything. I just threw everything in my suitcase. So the whole bag. So Rebecca looked at it before, and there was 2 drinks inside the bag with the charging thing. And she picked them up and put them in the fridge. And then she looked at it again. She went, no, I can't put that in the fridge because they look like they're Monster energy drinks, but they've got 6% alcohol in them. Did you? I didn't know they did this.
No.
Yeah. She's like,
they're selling booze now?
If we leave them in there, Lucas is going to think, not that we allow him to have that stuff, but Lucas, you know, he's like, oh, I'm going to have an energy drink.
An energy drink. And get a buzz going.
He's shit-faced on Monster, you know.
Because you wouldn't think to look at that, right? I wouldn't think if I saw a Monster in the fridge, I wouldn't think to say, oh, is there any alcohol in this?
It did not look like an alcoholic drink. It didn't.
Yeah.
I don't drink that stuff, but Rebecca's, we've got them. I'll put them in the fridge. She put them in the fridge in the garage. Oh, there it is, Beast. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a commercial for them. I wish it was because I think Monster pay very well, but they don't pay us jack diddly squat. So anyway, there was a lot of other fights on Saturday night, but they're the 3 main ones.
Joe Pyfer got a big win, Philly guy. Abus Magomedov kicked things off in the pay-per-view. And an interesting approach, I thought, too, in that fight. Just real quick, like he came out and wrestled really heavy and kind of didn't go his way in the first round, but it looked like the strategy was off in the beginning, and then round 2, Abu slowed down. Joe took over in the grappling and got a submission win, kind of showing everybody. I think he felt like he had to go out there with a chip on his shoulder with a point to prove that, hey, I'm not just this knockout artist. I'm not a guy that just has to punch your head off. He can grapple, and he's done that throughout his career leading into the UFC. I know when he was an amateur, he was more of he would take guys down and beat them up that way too. So big shout out to Joe.
No, that did surprise me. Also, I just want to quickly talk about Merab, because you said he wants to fight in December.
Yeah.
Right? He called out Periera. I think that makes sense, because at this point he's pretty much lapping the division.
Yeah.
Give him Periera at the end of the year, okay? More than likely he'd beat Piotr again. Jan is a tough fight for anyone in the division, so there's no shade at Piotr Jan there. But let's just assume Merab wins. At this point, Merab Dvalishvili, the star power that he's built, the fan favorite that he is, the resume that he has, the champions that he's beaten, and the frequency in which he fights, the man deserves something big, right? You've got Periera going up potentially to heavyweight. You've got Topuria getting the lightweight strap. You've got Conor McGregor back in the day and all these other double champs. There's no one else to fight. Merab Dvalishvili versus Alexander Volkanovski at 145 pounds. Tell me you don't want to see that. They're both 5'6". Volkanovski's got a slightly longer reach.
Yeah, they're both built exactly the same. They're stocky, strong sons of bitches is what they are. And Volk just cuts down to 45, a little bit bigger. And Merab, yeah, man, he's earned it. He's earned it. And that's a super fight for Volk too. And he's talking about just these legacy fights, these fights before he knows he's done. He knows he's only got less than a handful of fights left in him. So do you think Volk defends his belt first, though? Do you think he has to fight Lerone or whoever it is? If he wins that and Merab wins, then there's really nowhere for kind of either guy to go. I mean, I guess Volk has more challengers, but not really.
So Volk's he's just beaten Diego Lopez, which is crazy that Lopez is calling out for Volkanovski. It's like, that was Volk's last fight. There's Movsar Evloev, fair enough. Yair Rodriguez, not really in the running. Lerone Murphy is the name. Arnold Allen, granted, he's good, but he's been out of the picture for a while. Brian Ortega just got beat up Aljamain Sterling. There's potentially Aljamain Sterling. But in terms of excitement, fight Lerone Murphy, because he's 16 or 17-0 now, 17, I think. Just knocked out that dude with the spinning back elbow, right? Big barrel knockout. Give him Volkanovski. If Volk beats Lerone, it's a big if. Let him fight Merab, man, or let Merab fight him. That's the kind of fights we want to see next year. Not at the White House. That's a Georgian versus an Australian, Paul.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Mike, I think you got a job as a matchmaker.
Yeah. There you
Sean
go.
Shelby, get the fuck out of the way.
Get out of the way.
I'm
coming through. Move, bitch. Get out of the way. Let's have a non-MMA story from Harrington. In fact, Harrington, give us a non-MMA story if you're there, if you're alive.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I was when you said in fact, I thought there was going to be some kind of clarity.
No, what I was going to say, we should talk about, but give us the breakdown on John Jones's brother.
Right, yeah. So Arthur Jones, this made big headlines over the weekend. I believe it was Friday night. The news came out that he had passed away. Unfortunately, he was 39 years old, former Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. He is the older brother of John Jones and Chandler Jones. I just found this out the other day, too. They had another brother passed away from cancer. So 2 of the 4 Jones boys gone before the age of 40 years old, very tragically. I unconfirmed, but I read a report from a journalist out of Syracuse that said that he had a pacemaker installed. There was an issue with the pacemaker, and it did alert. So, paramedics come whenever a pacemaker is triggered like that. They said when they arrived on the scene, he'd already passed away.
39 years old. That's insane.
Yeah.
So Dana said, oh, no, it is. It is. Now, I'm glad you said that, Harrington, about the pacemaker, because I think a lot of people maybe would have jumped to the wrong conclusion and thought, died in his sleep, maybe going out there partying, take some uppers, take some downers. I don't know. People might come up with that conclusion. Apparently it was a, legit medical thing. it doesn't matter regardless. It's still a tragedy, regardless of how or why he passed away. Jones, Dana said at the post-fight presser that he'd spoken to John and he was handling it as well as can be expected, which I can only imagine how that is. I can only speak from my own experience with my brother Conrad. When I got the phone call from the army that he'd had a pickaxe buried in his head, we had to go down to the hospital, and the priest came and read him last rites, and
Jeez.
he said, "Yeah, he's not going to make it." It was bloody awful. But then, weirdly enough, we get a phone call 3 days later. He's awake. He's asking for a cigarette. He wants a cigarette and a coffee. And we're like, because he got flown on a helicopter. Apparently, died multiple times. But the man's a fighter. So for Jones, man, I know he wanted to come back and fight on the White House card. Something like this it's because we know the reason I say this is we know that John Jones has had his demons in the past.
Yeah.
Something like this can
Spark it back up.
Yeah. Of course it can.
Yeah, it's tough. That's you always worry about people that are recovering from anything or trying to avoid doing certain things in their life, and then something really tragic happens to them. You got to really keep a lookout on them. So I hope that people around them are, staying close to them, because this is when those types of things will get out of hand. It's just, I couldn't believe that when I saw that, and I opened my phone and I saw that John Jones' brother passed away. I was like, what? 39? And your mind does go all to other circumstances and other things that could involve getting something. But to find out that he already had a pacemaker. Also crazy to think that he had heart issues to that extent at that age is unfortunate.
So he was a Super Bowl champion. Forgive my ignorance on the football side of things, but and we know that they're all accomplished. All his brothers were accomplished, right? But there's something special in those genes, in that gene pool. A Super Bowl champion, potentially one of, or if not the greatest fighter that the sport's ever seen, and the other one. And I think one of the others plays NFL, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think they're all I'm sure Mike or Brian can clarify. Was it 2 NFL guys?
Yes, it was Chandler Jones is the most famous NFL player. He was at least a one-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, but he was with them for a few years. He was also with the Cardinals and the Rams.
How many Super Bowls did Arthur win?
Arthur, I believe, won the one. Yeah, they both won one Super Bowl championship. The Chandler won one with the Patriots, and then Arthur won one with the Ravens back in 2013.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I don't know what it is, but as I'm getting older, I just find myself I've got nothing to do with this situation whatsoever, but I find myself hearing about people passing away all the time. Seems to be a regular thing these days, and just my mind going to enjoy this shit while you can. And maybe we had this conversation a few weeks ago, but it's like you realize you're only human and life is frail and can be taken away just like that. Jesus Christ. Our thoughts, of course, are with the Jones family right now through this difficult time. It's just very, very sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Should we get something a bit more?
I was just going to say something more uplifting on the non-MMA.
I got something silly.
I mean, your stories are always silly, Harrington, but I can see a few of them here. Which one are you going to go with?
The last one.
Multiple homes getting destroyed in a massive hurricane on the Outer Banks in the Carolinas.
That one was
That's not exactly silly. I'm just saying this. Rebecca's been obsessed with moving to North or South Carolina in the last few years. The Carolinas, we're not going there. We're not going there. No, we were going to go to Asheville. That just got destroyed by a hurricane. And now another one. I'm not moving to somewhere that has been decimated by hurricanes 2 years in a row. That would be quite foolish.
Well,
stay in your earthquake central.
You were initially looking at Greenville, which is 250 miles from the coastline. So I think that might be safe. But guys building their
Asheville. Asheville
is
the first one.
That's a little You do better in Greenville, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, no,
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Come on, give us something.
all right. So a female firefighter was arrested for
I knew you were going to
stalking
go there.
after allegedly dumping 75, and this is in quotes, possibly used tampons onto her ex-boyfriend's lawn when she learned that he was dating a new woman.
Oh, she looks like she dumped some tampons on some lawns.
Right, hold on. So 75 of her, because they got to be hers, because where else is she going to get these tampons?
They don't have to be.
No, but they got to be. Where would you get 75 used
Bathrooms?
tampons from?
The box in the bathrooms that they have for the ladies.
Oh, because they're told not to flush them?
Yeah. That would be real disgusting, but it's a possibility, eh?
Yeah, but I like the thought. I like to imagine this crazy lady of every month when she has one.
Saving them.
There's 72.
Yep.
73.
Now, my question was,
they
she
would
didn't
dry
commit.
out by then, though. That's
She didn't commit,
75
though.
months.
You just soak them in a little water. I'll
But that would
plump 'em back up.
dilute dilute them.
That would be 6.5 years of planning for this.
Yeah. Okay. No. Given that, they're definitely someone else's.
So what I'm reading here is she initially said, it wasn't her. She didn't even know where the guy lived now. She eventually copped to it and said, okay, look, I did it. It wasn't my idea. It was my mom and my aunt's idea. They weren't used. I just painted them red before I threw them on this guy's lawn. So we'll see.
That's a lot of tampons to paint red and then dump on your ex's lawn.
Yeah,
And
I
why
don't know.
75
I
and
don't
not
know.
100?
That's a lot less tampons to paint red than what it is to collect used from another person. All you got to do, I don't know how many tampons come in a pack, right? How many tampons come in a pack? 6?
No idea.
No. Oh, because they don't use one a month, do they? They might use multiple.
No, every day for a week
Per
or multiple times. Yeah.
Quick
per festive
Google.
period.
Quick Google said 18 to 40 in a pack, depending on
18 to 4. So she's got 2 pack of tampons and just dump some red paint on. Maybe. Still crazy.
There must have been a few real ones in there. You know what I mean? Maybe it was that week and she's like, yeah, I'm going to paint some of them, but the ones that I throw at your window are going to be the real ones.
What was the thought process behind the used tampons? What was that getting at? Where do you think the head was? Harrington, you put this in here. You got to come out here and assist this conversation, this flow. Pardon the pun.
All right. Yeah, we'll get heavy with it. They said
Give
it was
us some more. What have we got? Flow, heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if the tampons left some spotting on the grass.
Harrington put this in there. He's come up with all this. What, Brian? What have you got there?
I was just gonna say, it says in the article here that it wasn't even her idea, and that her aunt and her mother put her up to it.
Yeah.
What a crazy family.
Good family, man.
That is a crazy family.
So
each other.
it says here it was likely because she was unhappy that he was dating a new woman, and she had previously taken to social media to badmouth the happy couple.
Mm.
That's just a jilted, sour, angry, very
Cruella
crazy.
DeVille hairstyle going on there with the black and the white.
What I was gonna ask you guys is, have you ever had a situation where you break up with a girl and you're dealing with some crazy toxic fallout? Maybe, not to the level of needing to clean up women's menstrual products off your lawn, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have, but I'm not getting into any of it because it's personal stuff, and they'll know exactly who they're being spoken about. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I haven't had that many relationships in my life. It's pretty, So, what else have we got in here? The Gen Z job crisis, Harrington, apparently is due to too many people having college degrees, according to Fortune magazine. So that's what people wanting to. I have no idea. I have no say in any of this, Paul. This isn't me. I don't put these in. Because I see you looking at me as they go on then, Michael.
Yeah.
Spout poetically about this subject.
I saw this one.
This for the first time.
I saw this one and I thought that was interesting too, right? Because nobody does anything else anymore. Now it's just, okay, you graduate high school, you're supposed to go and get a degree. You're supposed to then go into the job force, get a job. But I hope that we start to see more people get interested in just not doing that. And people go to college just to go to college now, and it doesn't actually get you a better placement in getting the job anymore. No. Because if everyone's doing that, then what makes you stand out? You've got to have something else that makes you more interesting. And I think a lot of people are going to start actually just trying to get more hands-on work, more internships, going out into the world earlier in their youth instead of being in a university where they're studying things that aren't actually going to apply to being in the real world, and just getting out there and doing that. Like, for example, I went to school for acting. I went to a university to study acting. In hindsight, and my daughter is now a little bit more into the arts, not so much performing anymore, but visual arts and painting and decorating and like fashion design. She's in all that. She's only 10, but she's in all that. And she was asking us the other day about going to college for it. Me and Christine were like, listen, we're not ruling that out. And I'm not ruling it out even for performing, but I'm just saying you can also get that same type of education by going out into the world, auditioning, taking classes, or getting with a fashion designer or somebody on the come up, being their assistant, running and getting coffee for them, being around, or do both, right? Where you kind of go to college, learn it, but then you're still going to have to do that kind of stuff in order. But I think it's just so quick in America, especially, it's like everybody's got to go to university. And if you're trying to get like a real job out in the world and you studied, social studies and math, and then you go and you're trying to be in some law firm or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but I think I think too many people go to college.
Yeah, no. When I was younger, a lot of people got an apprenticeship to be a mechanic or a builder or a tiler or a plumber and stuff like that. I don't know if it's because of where I live in Orange County, and there is plenty of people that do blue collar jobs, but I don't know anyone that does that kind of work. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have a large circle of friends. I don't. But Callum and all his friends, they're all doing stuff like that. But there's nothing wrong with that kind of work. It's good, honest work. The problem is that these days, the world is just so batshit crazy expensive that they probably feel that they feel some obligation to try and have to get some fancy degree to be able to compete, because you go out there and get a good job. Like I know someone who's training to be a fireman, a young guy. I'm like, wow, what a great job. And what a really good, respectable job that is.
Right.
And I looked it up on ChatGPT, the average salary. And in California, it's around $78,000. Now, that's a good salary. However, in this economy that we live in, you're going to need a 2-income household. Certainly in California, by the time you pay taxes, rents are through the roof. It's like $3,000 in California for like a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, really small, tiny apartment. So you're trying to have a family and trying to have children. You know what I mean? You ain't going to be able to get by on that. In the north of England, where I come from, when I was growing up, I remember, and I still think, Brian, just look up, what is the average salary in the north of England? Because when I was younger, I used to earn £10,000 a year. And we used to get by just fine on that. £10,000, granted, this is the year 2000, 2001. £10,000, we could pay our mortgage. We had a car. We didn't have necessarily spare money, and we were always living in the overdraft, but we still went out at the weekend. We still lived our life, and we were young and we didn't care, and we were very happy. But these days, I don't know how people are surviving and getting by. Right. What's the average salary in the north of England?
It says in the Northeast, it's approximately £38.3 thousand a year, and in the Northwest, it's 41.1.
Well, that's a lot more than what I thought. It's a lot more than what I thought. 41,000 pounds.
But that's, like you said, but that's now. That's 2025. I mean,
that's the average though as well.
Yeah.
Because I know
what do you think it was in 2002 then?
Yeah, probably 20 grand. 15, something like that, because I was on minimum wage. But yeah, it's hard, man, for these. Going back to what you said, Like my daughter, she goes to college right now, and I got to choose my words carefully. But she got accepted to this fancy college, Chapman, doing film study, and I'm like, great. And she got an academic scholarship because she messed around at school. And then her grades were terrible. Then she went to community college. We did all her general ed and then general education for those UK people or non-Americans, and then got to do a real course. So I was just telling Lucas this morning, stop messing around at school. Look at Ellie. She had to not waste, but it took her 2 years extra to make up for the time that she wasted at high school. And then she goes to college. She's doing a degree in film study. She wants to be an actress. And at the end of it, I looked it up. You can get a job being a film critic. I'm like, what the f- is this? And I ruined our celebration because we went out for sushi. I said, let's go out for dinner. I'm going to Vegas for work. Let's go out for dinner. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, so what can you do with this degree? And then I looked at it. I'm like, a film critic? You don't want to be a film critic. You want to make stuff. You want to contribute to the world, not sit there and judge people. Now, granted, with this, you can maybe go off and get a job as a production assistant and work her way up and all the rest of it. She'll have an understanding. She's around that world and like-minded people and all the rest of it. But I'm like, this is what I'm talking. This is what Harrington's talking about by putting this story in there. You know, everyone feels they've got to go get a degree.
They've got to go to college. Just like we were just saying, like in hindsight, I would have just gone out into the world and done it. I would have just gone and tried to audition and tried to do plays and tried to go to New York and lived off of working as a waiter and getting by and meeting people and networking, because so much of my time, similar to studying different things that are, of course, going to advance your knowledge in that space, right? Of film, of the history of film, of different genres of film and people that are famous for it and that you should study and know their work. But if you want to be an actress, where you need to be is trying to be an actress.
Yeah. So
and I would have done that in hindsight. I would have done that.
I said to her, why did you do something similar, Paul?
I went to the University of the Arts. Yeah. And so I had to study
No, I know that. But did you study film or did you study acting?
I studied theater, but wanted to be a film actor, right? So I spent so long being on stage and learning that craft. And then ultimately, what was the end goal was to be a movie actor or be a TV star, or do all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I didn't need to learn how to perform on stage for 4 years and roll around on the floor doing movement classes, pretend to be animals for a semester. And it's not granted. And I always talk to my friends about this. Listen, I met a lot of really awesome people that are still the best friends in my life. Like my friends, Brian, Steve, and so many other people that I'm still super close with today. But that's mainly what I got about it. I'm not an actor really right now. I mean, I ended up becoming a fighter, and a lot of those things I learned helped me with broadcasting, but I still could have gotten all that stuff by just getting out there and studying while working as an actor and trying to be out there auditioning.
It's funny that you say, not funny, but it's interesting you said that you should have just went out there and tried to be an actor, because I said to Ellie, I said, you know, I've only got one daughter. You've got a dream of being an actress. I'm happy to support you. So when you finish this degree, I'll pay for you, you know, not the acting school of your choice, but I'll pay for you to go to acting school for 2 more years. You know what I'm saying? I'll make that commitment because I know how badly you want it. And she says, no, I don't want to do that. I want to get out there. She's doing tons of auditions now. She's like, I want to train. So because she does private classes 3-4 times a week, which costs a fortune. She's like, I'll still do my training and I will get out there and do auditions and just try and make it happen, because 2 more years pass. I'm 2 years older as well. You know, so you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot, but where I learned the most, like when I was at school for acting, right? Where I learned the most was in our studio, our acting studio. That's acting class. Yeah. It's just acting class. Now, it's acting class presented by some really good professors, like this guy, Ernie Loso, who was one of my favorite professors. He was a big-time director and producer on some really big hit TV shows in like the 60s and 70s. And somehow we got him because he studied a very specific technique of acting and was very good at it and knew the guys that were on the ground floor of it and was there when it first started in New York years and years ago. And he was one of our professors and he was great. But you could get that type of credentialed class by going to New York and finding that studio or a studio like that and training with those people, or California, vice versa, wherever you want to go. So yeah, that's where like I had to study history of theater. I had to study voice and speech. I had to study business, like how to get out in the world and do this and that. But really all of that could have been just me going out and auditioning and learning the hard way. Get up and having somebody tell you in the room with you or a peer say, hey, by the way, your headshot looks like shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, and I was just about to say, we'll get off because we always find ourselves talking about
we do
because I'm a daughter and we both do a bit. So apologies, guys. We're going to get back into the MMA stuff, but this is a funny little story. I remember once I got an audition because I did it the hard way, man. Oh my God. Zero acting training, absolute knucklehead from the north of England. And used to, people could hardly understand the word that I said, but my God, was I enthusiastic. And I remember once my agent said, "But got a role for you here. You're playing an American professional wrestler, right? So you know professional wrestling." I said, "Yeah." He said, "So go in, be loud, be proud, like have fun with it. Just go for it in the audition." I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do it. All right, okay. This is the lesson that I learned, is that you have to print off the sides, right? Because I didn't print off all the sides and I was just like reading it off my phone. Turns out there was 2 scenes and I didn't read all the directions. So I walk in and I show up for the audition at some fancy studios in Los Angeles. And there's a bunch of people all sat outside, all like big juiced out guys, all clearly going for the same role. You walk into the room, right? You know how it is. You're already starting to feel self-conscious. The woman sat behind the desk and she's like, "Go ahead." So I start reading the lines that I've memorized, like, talking like this. And she goes, "Whoa, stop. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm a professional wrestler." She goes, "Yeah, but this is the scene where he's just reconnected with his dad that he hasn't seen for 15 years. And I'm like, "Oh, right." I said, "Well," she said, "that stuff's the other scene in the ring." I'm like, "Oh," I said, "Well, have you got the sides there?" And she goes, "No, I don't." And I said, "They're right there. I can see. Can I just have a look and I'll do it?" She goes, "I think we've seen enough." I was like, "Okay." And I walked down.
I get it.
Tail between my legs. I'm like, driven all the way up there in rush hour traffic. Oh, God.
Dude. Yeah, it can be some nightmare stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back into this. UFC Qatar has just been announced. We're going to be there. No travel bitching. Nope. Dan Hooker versus Arman Sarukian in the #1 contender matchup. And Bilal Muhammad taking on Ian Gary. Ian Gary has come out and said, and I'm assuming that you've got something to say about this, says that he wanted the fight with Sean Brady, but the UFC or something said no because he wanted a #1 contender matchup. Something along those lines. Harrington, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you nailed it. He said he was offered the fight with Brady. He accepted, but wanted the UFC to guarantee it was #1 contenders match. UFC refused to, hence the Bilal fight.
Your version, Paul?
Sean just never heard back about that particular matchup. So that doesn't not track that Ian would have said yes, but gave some. But again, he said yes, but I want you to promise me. Man, this is you know damn well that even if they do promise you that, they ain't putting it in writing. They can just turn around and give it to whoever they want anyway. So it's like, did you really want that fight? It's my thing. And listen, I like Ian. I've had many conversations with him. I think he'd prefer this fight with Bilal. And Bilal is another rank above Sean because he's the former champ. Obviously, he's #1. Sean's #2. Sean just wanted to fight. I don't know if Sean's fight, his fight hasn't been announced yet, right? I can't say anything about that.
Oh, he's got a fight.
He might have a fight. It's not been signed yet. But
does
similar
it
to what
rhyme with Kamaru Shoesman?
No, it does not.
All right. Does it rhyme with Shlamanov? Does it rhyme with Psycho Genom Rage?
No. That was a stretch. You might as well have just said Michael Venom Page.
I know. Yeah. Okay, whatever. We won't play this game.
But anyway, in terms of like, I think what they're doing, the UFC, right? Okay, so I see Bilal and I see Ian Gary fighting. And I know Sean is maybe about to get a fight potentially. Again, nothing 100%, hasn't been announced yet. Don't know if it's going to go through. Could be another one like Ian. He thought he had the Ian fight, didn't fall through. But I think they're trying to do what we just saw with Carlos Ulberg, Jirir and Khalil Rountree. We see it in a lot of these different divisions where you've got two big fights in the same division where there's no clear-cut winner on who is going to be next in line for that belt, because already the belt's on the line in November with Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, right? That's happening. So you've got all these hungry welterweights. I think that's what they're trying to do, is put them against each other. Instead of beating each other, they leave openings. If there's no clear-cut guy, they fight each other, the winners of both of these matchups, right? I think they're making brackets without making brackets to kind of build up to who's going to be next for the championship fight.
Brian, do us a favor. Just Google Dan Hooker, because he was saying some wild stuff about Arman Tsarukyan last week when this got announced. He did an interview. See if you can find it, because I want to see it, because it was hilarious. It sounds like he does not like Arman Tsarukyan one little bit. I don't know what the problem is or where.
He freaking hates his guts. He has been talking shit. I don't know, but Dan cannot stand Arman Tsarukyan.
All right, so if you can find that, Brian, let us know. But yeah,
I love that fight though. I love Dan Hooker. Don't give a shit about who he's going to get matched up with.
Nah, it's all right, Brian. I think I saw like a highlight of it on Spinning Backfist or Championship Rounds or something, where it just had them all lined up one after the other. But he was talking some mad shit. It's a good fight, though. That is a good fight. So Tsarukyan can do it all. Dan Hooker beat Mateusz Gamrot last time out by split decision. So it's not like he can't defend the takedown. So that's an exciting fight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. That's the main event, right? That's the main event for Qatar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that, man. It makes me so much even more excited about that. When I saw Dan post that, I even wrote on there, I was like, I'm going to be front row for that one to call that. It's been a while since I've had to call one of Dan's fights. So that'll be fun to be there and see him potentially get that much closer to the belt, right? Anytime that you fight a guy, and we've talked about this, you only wish nothing but success for them, right? This is a guy that I competed against years ago, and to see him still doing it and to still be putting himself in position to be still have a chance to get to that belt, man. I hope nothing. I can't say that I hope he wins because I'll be calling it with you. So I'm not going to say that. But
may the best man.
May the best man win. I've had a good relationship with Arman. As much as Dan hates him, I've had no bad interactions with Tsarukyan. So
let me ask you this: as we just said, or you just said, excuse me, we can't make predictions when we're commentating. We were just talking about Gamrot and Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is fighting Charles Oliveira this weekend in Rio de Janeiro. I will be getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm not complaining. I've got a 3.5-hour flight to Houston and then a 4-hour layover. Then I've got another 11-hour flight down to Rio. I'm not complaining. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Are you asking who do I think?
You're not going to be there, Paul. Who wins that fight? Charles Oliveira, Mateusz Gamrot.
I've thought a lot about this actually, because I was thinking we were talked about how it was interesting that Charles didn't want to take this fight at first. And that spoke a lot to me and is what is kind of going to sway my decision. Even though it's on short notice, I'm going to go with Gamrot getting the W on this one. I just think his level of hunger, and I got to see him when we were in Paris. I believe he was there as like maybe a teammate or a guest fighter. I can't remember. He's a brick shit house, dude. I gave him like a bro hug and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God. And I know I'm a little skinnier these days and everything, but he's a monster. I think he's going to pull it off. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Charles, old Chucky Olives, pulls off a big sub, but I'm going with Gamrot. Okay. Boys, what do you think? I wonder what these
Harrington
guys
and
think.
Brian, you guys can jump on. You guys can give an opinion. I mean, Charlie Olives, obviously, the man's awesome. He, most submissions, most bonuses, most finishes, all that stuff. However, did just get flatlined by Ilia Topuria. No spring chicken. A lot of fights. These are just facts. He's had I think it's something like 50 MMA fights or whatever. At some point, that starts to add up. Mateusz Gamrot is taking it on short notice. He will probably go for the takedown with the head on the outside single, and he will be in Charles Oliveira's world because he is the submission king. Who wins it?
I mean, I watched Charles Oliveira get brutally knocked out 4 months ago. I don't I don't know how I could, in good conscience, pick him in this spot. That doesn't feel like enough time for the chin to recover. Even if you are fighting someone like Gamrot, who isn't necessarily known for that like one hitter quitter KO power. Just what that has to do to you mentally, knowing you were separated from your consciousness 4 months ago, you were going to be super gun shy, and talk about being in there with a wrestler where those hands are going to have to be glued to your face just to protect that chin. It's going to be a field day of takedowns for Gamrot. I just don't see the path to victory for Charles Olives, but he's proven me wrong more times than I can count. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I disagree. I think what you just said, where it's going to be takedown all day for Gamrot, that's going to be his downfall. He's going to go to the ground with Charles Oliveira, and Oliveira's going to do something slick and just choke him to death.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that happening. And certainly when
me
you
too. I can definitely see it.
Matau shoots the single leg with the head on the outside. The reason they don't teach that most of the time is, as you know, Paul, the guillotine or guillotine, as you Americans say, is right there. It's right there. And we got a lot of different variations of it these days. And if there's one man that knows them all,
I like the pinky variation.
We got the ninja. We got the shit, this, that, and the other. Okay? He knows them all. Give me a different one, Paul.
I pulled the reinforced one. Yeah, behind the back guillotine.
We got the behind the back guillotine.
I pulled this one off on my boy today, my boy Ryan.
Well, Saturday night, who was it who was fighting in UFC 320? Hold on, let me find. Austin Vanderford got submitted by Ramiz Brahimaj, and it was the 10-finger guillotine. And I'm watching him with Callum, and Callum's like, what was that? What did he get him with? He said, there was no way he could have got that. It's crazy. I said, come here. Let me show you. And,
son.
Demonstrazione. He's like, I'm like, yeah, see, still got it.
Yeah,
see about this. Brian, number 3 on the MMA news section. Click that link and let's watch this. This is, of course, the great Michael Perry taking out the great Jeremy Stevens.
It was something like 6 knockdowns. Is that right? Like 6 knockdowns in that fight?
He's just built for this.
He is built for it.
He really is. Because in the UFC, he had some good wins, and he had some ups and downs. He's a different beast in there, man.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Did you beat Mike Perry, Paul?
Yeah, he beat me by split decision. I broke my arm in the first round. But no, he's a savage. We were in there, and every time he hit me, I remember thinking, fuck. So I can only imagine these dudes going bare knuckle with him where there's no other rules. You can't kick him. You can't push kick him. You can't wrestle him. You can't jujitsu him. All you got to do is stand there in front of him for 2 minutes at a time and let him punch you in the face, and he will eat anything that you throw at him. I really think he found his sport. He's really good at it. He's tough as shit, and he's a dog, man.
Did you see all the back and forth with McGregor and Mike Perry at the press conference? I thought that shit was entertaining as hell. That was great.
Connor's bumping into them as he's holding the belt up at the stare down. Oh, dude, it's nuts. He's also the perfect promoter for this shit. Like he's so over the top and enthusiastic and just crazy that it all works. It does.
It does. Feldman must be loving it. Dustin Poirier said that he would come back for a fight in Zuffa Boxing against Nate Diaz. But Nate Diaz responded and said that he's not allowed. He said, I beat your ass, but you're not allowed. I tell you what, Dana's getting into boxing. I think they're doing 12 events on Paramount next year. They signed that huge deal. God only knows what the figures were in that one as well, just like the UFC. Guarantee it was big. That would be a great matchup to put on. Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier. I mean, is that Nate Diaz turning that fight down? It sounds like
yeah. I don't know, man. I like to see that. And again, Dustin, he's retired, but that's different. I mean, it's not like he doesn't want to compete at the highest level of the UFC and MMA anymore, right? You get to a certain point in your life where it's like, okay, this is just a lot. But for him to have an opportunity to go box up Nate Diaz and still make a big old bag, shit. Yeah. I don't see why they wouldn't allow that. I think Nate's just,
I don't want to get
being
into
Nate.
it all because we've said it multiple times. I could train for a boxing match right now, even with my sore neck and shit going on. I couldn't make it through a camp for an MMA fight. So that's what Nate did. Dustin's talking about, stepping away from MMA. It's a tough sport. We just spoke before about, you might win in boxing, whatever you're talking about Dan Henderson and stuff like that. It's just a different beast. But boxing, okay, let's put on the bigger gloves, even though they are dangerous and you can still get hurt. But getting through a training camp is completely different. Why Nate Diaz wouldn't want to take that matchup is beyond me. Right? It's TKO boxing. They've got the money. It's an opponent that's going to generate a tremendous amount of hype. I'm sure, I'm not speaking for TKO or the UFC or Dana, but I'm sure they would be interested in that. Unless it's a bit more of the misfit style. Maybe they're trying to do the proper boxing.
I was just going to say the only thing that maybe we're not really aware of because they haven't done any of these events yet is that, they want it to be very separate from what the UFC is and from the athletes that are involved in the UFC. I think especially maybe early on, they don't want it to look like this is just an avenue for them to still showcase the same athletes and the same key names, right? But I mean, I don't know. Throw them on the undercard or something like that. Give them some good money and let them duke it out. But it doesn't seem like we'll have to see. It seems like they want to kind of get a roster of future potential legit pro boxers on that roster as opposed to, former fighters towards the end of their careers, retired from their MMA careers. I don't want to say, old guys, but that's kind of what I am saying.
The old guard. Anyway, that has been 1 hour, 45 minutes of me and Paul Felder blessing you.
Talking about
the
acting.
latest and greatest stories from the theater stage to the tampon cage. Okay. This is the podcast to come to. If you want to hear about women throwing 72 tampons on a man's lawn, this is the place to go. You won't get this content on any other MMA show. You just won't. And probably for a reason. And probably a good reason. But there it is. There is the show. We're now going to do questions. If you have a question, you send it in to
bympod@gmail.com.
What else?
Like it, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, and follow us both on all platforms imaginable. And
And be sure to leave a comment because it helps the algorithm. You forgot that one, Paul. It's fine.
No, I said leave a comment, didn't I?
Oh, did you? I don't know.
I was speaking so fast. I was
blinded by the greatness. There is a possibility. We're saying this, and it's true. We're going to be back every single week. And from what I'm hearing from a little guy that takes care of our business affairs now, but with a different outfit, hopefully 2 shows a week coming back. Guests galore, or maybe on the Thursday episode. It's a new era. It's a new era for the show. But with all that said, do you have a question for us, Brian? And watch this. No.
Oh, of course we do. But we answered. So we had like 3 questions lined up, and you went over 2 of them pretty thoroughly. But we're always down for this one.
Brian, what else? Do we have a Roland Vixer? Oh.
Say his name, and he appears. This is Roland Vixer from Germany. Hello, pretty Paul. No homo. And beautiful Bisping. No homo. Everyone gets a question first. It's your turn, Paul. In Germany, your name would be pronounced Paul. Have you ever been called Paul? And for Michael, do more people pronounce your name with a B in the middle, Bisping? Or correctly with a P, Bisping? Until next time.
Have you experienced Roland Vixer before, Paul?
I think one other time before.
Okay.
I think we had his daughter on.
We did. Yeah.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, and I think she said the same thing. I think she also said no homo about 2 things, and we were both like, well, It's not. No, you don't even have to say that if you're a woman saying any of these things. But anyway.
I see. Powell.
I'm sure I have. I've been in many different countries all over the world, so I've heard my name said many different ways. So yeah, I think so.
I get Bisping all the time. Everyone says Bisping, even though I tell people on phones when I'm making an appointment. Bispp, as in Papa.
Bisping.
Ping, as in ping pong ball.
Bisping.
He still said Bisping.
It's funny.
I might mess up your name.
Yeah, I don't care.
Is when I added Bisping to the tags on the channel, we got more views.
Oh, well, we'll keep making mistakes, Brian.
Oh, really?
It was because I know that people probably often Google his name wrong.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Funny.
God damn. So just think, we'd be the number one show on the internet if it wasn't for my stupid last name.
You just got to change your name.
Shit. I was going to say something, but I can't say it because it's going to give too much access. I was going to, because that's not my full last name. You probably know. I've got a double barrel surname.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Yeah. And we've had people recently just trying to like apply for things on our credit and stuff. So I don't want to say too much. But you know, we have a stupid double barrel last name. And we only have that because my dad was trying to, I thought it was because you know, we got like a fancy history with our family and stuff going back to the Middle Ages. Nothing to do with that. From what I understand, it was just my dad trying to get one over on his old man. So we changed his name. Something like that. And it's just caused a lifetime of bullshit and a pain in the ass. Anyway, if you're still here and you're still watching the show after 1 minute 49 of us bullshitting around and having a laugh, we appreciate you very much. I'm off to Brazil tomorrow. Paul's going nowhere. Must be nice, Paul.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Must be nice.
I'm right here.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.